Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call to order the regular city council meeting of December 20th, 2023 to order. Ms. Cassandra.
Mayor David Romero,
Here.
Councilor Barbara Casey,
Here.
Councilor Michael Montoya,
Present.
Councilor David Ulivari.
He's excused.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a quorum.
Councilman Montoya, will you listen to the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Casey, will you listen to moment of silence?
Let us take a moment of silence to thank our Creator for all the good things that He has given us, and especially thank Him for giving us such wonderful employees that are so willing to put in extra time, work extra hard for the citizens of our community and to make our community better.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is approval of agenda, and I believe you had a recommendation.
Yes, councilors, on this agenda, I had suggested we have nominations of Mayor Pro Tem. Being that Councilman Ulivari is gone, I was that along with the future appointment of the Ward 4 seat, if we could go ahead and table that till the next month.
So moved.
So we have a motion to table that item. Have a second?
Can we approve the agenda with the same motion? Because that's first before
Okay, so
tabling.
let's approve the agenda, okay.
The approval of agenda is first. and
Okay,
then
Mr. Mayor, I
we'll
move
include
approval.
those in your amendment.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda with the proviso that we table item 6 to the January meeting.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Councilman Montoya. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to public input, we have none this evening. So we'll move on to our mayor's appointments, reports, recognitions, and proclamations.
I'll go ahead and start off with my reports. It's been a wild week since last meeting. But I know we have here on the agenda Mr. Tim Montgomery, but I want to welcome him here to the meeting tonight. Thank you, Tim, for stepping in. And I know we've been in a lot of discussion, a lot of things going on, so thank you for that. Other than that report, myself and Mr. Robert Archuleta were in Santa Fe on Monday meeting with the governor. The initial reason for the meeting was for the governor to welcome me as the new mayor of the city of Las Vegas, but we were able to sneak in some of our capital outlay requests and had some good conversations with her, so that was very positive. Other than that, I want to move on, and unfortunately I wasn't able to because of the fire yesterday. I do want to thank all the fire department for their efforts, and also PD in assisting getting there and saving one of our citizens in that fire. So thank you guys. I wish I could have, that's the unfortunate part of not having to be able to put things on the agenda right away, because if I could, I'd be recognizing all of them here tonight. So thank you guys, and thank you, Chief, and for your leadership, Chief Span, and thank you, Mr. Marquez, for what you've done. It's the efforts that were made and what you guys did were well noticed in the community, so thank you. The next item I have here, again, the city of Las Vegas would not survive without the grateful employees that we have in our city. And one department here that I want to recognize here tonight is the Public Works Department. First off, Mr. Arnold Lopez and your staff, putting together everything that they had to, within getting the city ready for Christmas, and going above and beyond, for the Rio and Luces en el Rio event, and then not only that, then us getting dumped on with snow. And I'd just like to note for the record that it was amazing. I got about 6 different emails and 2 different calls, thanking, for me to personally thank you guys, and on behalf of the governing body, thank you guys for all that you did, because you guys did an outstanding job with the roads this snowstorm. So with that, and I don't know, all of them are here, all of them that are here, but I do want to recognize, I don't know, is Alex Duran here? No? Okay. I just want to, recognize Alex Duran, because he's going to be retiring with us. He's been put 25 years with the city of Las Vegas. It's a lot of dedication to this, to the city, and, it's just one on behalf of the governing body. And I'll let them speak, after we do this, but, thank him for his service and let him know that we're very appreciative. I guess it'd probably be easier, Arnold, if you, you come up and let me know what guys are here, and we'll go ahead and give them their certificates of appreciation of the governing body, if you guys will join me. Councilor Casey, will you go ahead and read the, of course, you don't have to read the name, but.
Okay. The certificate of recognition is presented to the people that will be named shortly. It says the governing body acknowledges your outstanding commitment, dedication, and hard work during this holiday season, and for working beyond standard hours to ensure and prioritize the safety of the residents of Las Vegas. Awarded the 20th day of December 2023, Mayor David Romero.
I know this one's here, so if you could help us. So the first one would go to Daniel Gurule.
Yeah, Daniel's here.
If you could let me know which guys are.
Okay,
Travis is here. Approve, Daniel.
The next one will go to Project Inspector Travis Martinez. That's what we got. Congratulations.
The next certificate of recognition goes to Nicholas Romero, Equipment Operator 2.
The next one goes,
Thank you for the
the next one is, to me, especially with the Luces en el Rio, there was a couple times when we were working on the power and called him out a few times. And, just in my time that I've been here, he's always willing with no complaints. Mr. Ernest Jaramillo.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
I don't
you.
know about this next one. This one goes out to Public Works Director, Mr. Arnold Lopez, and I want to thank you especially for guiding your crew. And I know you got a young crew, like all other crews in the PD and other departments, Recreation Center. We're all doing our best, and I want to thank you for being out there at all kinds of hours. I know what that feels like. There's some shifts that I used to put in 26 hours in a row before we went on to 12 on, 12 offs. But it takes dedication and it takes knowledge to be able to do that kind of a line of work. So we congratulate you and we thank you for your service and for your.
Thank you, councilors. I just want to make this, note is that, that's one thing that I think this governing body has always said is that we want to be able to do do what we do because it's, everybody that's, the whole team of the city of Las Vegas, especially the employees that, are out there every single day working hard, and we're appreciative of it. And with that, I've had an opportunity to talk to my colleagues, and we're working on coming up with an employee of the month in each department. More details to come, but just to show that we're very appreciative of what you guys do. I know sometimes we sit up here and in the community, they're never happy 100% of the time, but we want you to know that we support you guys and thank you for you do. Thank you.
Mayor, next, we have councilors' reports.
Councilor Casey.
Thank you. I also had made my own little list of people to thank. People, I think, sometimes don't understand how hard our employees work, especially those that are out in the cold weather, rain, snow, doesn't matter. They're out there 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, with really long hours. And so I really want to thank the Utilities Department, first of all, because they already took action on the request that I made at last week's meeting. And I had a lot of really good phone calls from constituents on 7th Street thanking me for saying something. And they were very happy with the services that they received from the Utilities Department. They did find some water leaks. They found some gas issues that they were able to help people with. And people called me up and thanked me for to make sure that people knew that the Utilities Department employees had been extremely polite and helpful. So I want to thank them first. And then Public Works, I want to thank them for the lights, fixing the lights on Bridge Street, on the south side of Bridge Street. I had a lot of the merchants call me up and say, please be sure that you thank whoever is in charge. And the workers that took care of that as soon as they could. I also want to, I'm sorry. I also want to thank the chief for dealing with an elderly constituent that at the time that I was called, and I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do about this.
No worries.
Okay. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a friend in Chile and he's calling me to wish me a happy birthday tomorrow, so I'll call him when I get home. Can you give me just a second to answer real quick?
Yeah.
Néstor,
No worries, sir.
estoy en medio de un meeting de concejales. ¿Puedo hablarte mañana? Bueno. Bueno. Ciao. Sorry. Okay. Won't ring again. Kind of embarrassed. Okay. The police chief was extremely gentle with this person who was very distraught, an elderly woman, and who was terrified and was crying and was calling him at 2:30 in the morning and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that very much. And also the IT department for getting the Tyler system working again. And of course, the fire department who had a big job to do with the fire right next to the church. And thank you for making sure that everyone was safe and no further damage was done on that block. We have a lot of really wonderful, wonderful employees. And I think that sometimes people complain, and I get all upset when I see something on Facebook about people complaining about the streets, or, the employees aren't doing their job, and they have no clue. They have no clue. And so I just want to say that I am truly grateful that we have good, better than good. We have great employees who do their job with ganas. They have a desire and they have an urgency to make Las Vegas a better place to live. And I really, really appreciate everything that they do. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Montoya?
Yeah. First of all, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if we don't see you before Christmas. This is our last meeting in December. Hope you all are safe and your families. My apologies for not being here at the last meeting. I did have an emergency at home. Everything's okay, and thank you for all your prayers. Prayers do work. Mr. Mayor and Council, 8 months ago, I reported that house on Moreno Street to our city manager, previous city manager, and it was in a nuisance. People were going in there. People that shouldn't be in there were going in there. We had other incidents in the backyard where a vehicle was in fire. People were going into a shed. We demolished it. They removed the vehicle. I had asked that the property be fenced off. It never was. I asked that it be boarded up. It was boarded up partially. I asked that we move towards abatement. 8 months is a long process, and I know code enforcement, police chief, and fire chief did their job on trying to come to a solution on this property. I did advise at that time that there was either going to be a fire, a rape, a murder in there, or somebody would overdose in there, because that's how bad some of these homes that are abandoned are in this community. And the city needs to be a little bit more proactive on that, Mr. City Manager. When you're advised or notified about situations like this, we need to act on them, and we need to keep people safe and away from areas like those. I do thank the fire department and police department for acting on it, on the fire and so forth, and I'm glad no one died on that fire. But to me, it was kind of like it's, using our resources when we shouldn't have been using them. This shouldn't have happened. It was preventable. We were notified. I did notify the staff about it early on. So I hope it's a lesson, and I hope that we can remove all the rubble that's left behind and clean it up completely. The other thing is letting the citizens know of Las Vegas that we had a project going on Legion Drive between Grand Avenue and 7th Street, and that project has been suspended for now. In other words, we will be opening up the street as of today, all the way through. The contractor will be taking care of the potholes, addressing the potholes anytime they come up. It is going to be partially dirt till the weather permits, and then we'll go back and we'll start the project again with the overlay and the whole road being redone probably by March, April. I also, Mr. Mayor and Council, would like to bring up the issue about the last election that we had. The people voted no on all three, or voted down the three requests that we had on the referendum. And we all are aware of what happened with the election that we're supposed to have and the charter that needs to be changed. And I'm going to ask the city manager at this time and the mayor and council to start the process on revising the city charter to comply with New Mexico State statute and the new election process. Our old charter or existing charter is outdated in so many areas that I don't know if we need to redo the whole charter or just do segments of it. I don't know which one is best, but I will leave that to the experts. And I recommend that instead of making one change or another, that we do the entire document. And that's going to take some time. And we need to make sure that all these changes are within the input of the mayor and council, attorney, and the city clerk. And also hold public meetings with staff and attorney present for explanations and review of all changes. Bring this back to mayor and council. I know we have 2 years to do it because that's when the next election is. But if by any chance there will be a special election between now and then, we should be ready with this document to be able to put it for a referendum on an election. So my direction to the city manager is to go ahead and proceed in the process of reviewing this document and all the changes that need to be done, and so that we can act on it, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Montoya?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. If I may, right now, Tim is interim, and I know where your request, I agree with you on your request as far as the charter, but if you don't mind, I think it's better off for us to wait to see, what happens with the permanent city manager instead of him starting it, and then, if we get a new city manager, then we move on. But I will, let you know, in all confidence that I will be working on that as we move forward.
And Mr. Mayor, my worries, that's fine with me. My worries are that, the last time we had 3 referendum items and, we had a committee and they didn't have ample time to do all the research and do everything that they needed to do. And we were over there at the last minute. So we have 2 years now. There's a lot that needs to be done, a lot that needs to be revised, and the clerk has a lot of input on this, as well as our attorneys, and as well as ourselves. So we need to make sure that we get it right the first time, and that we take our time doing it right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next we have our police chief's report. We have Police Chief Mr. Marcus.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager, thank you. So this is the monthly report for the month of November, Las Vegas Police Department. So our field operations responded to 1,214 calls for service, 13 offense incident reports, 20 burglary reports. If you see that, we did have a rise in burglaries that consist of vehicle burglaries. We did do certain operations where we had our investigations division out at certain hours of the night where we believed that the burglars were taking place at, and they did get some information that was valuable and leads, and they still are currently working those burglaries to try to get the suspect incarcerated and charged. We did 40 arrests for the month, 64 parking citations, non-traffic citations were 10, and traffic citations of 5. Our communication division dispatched 1,022 calls for police, 86 for fire, 160 for AMR, 33 code compliance calls, 33 animal control calls, 685 total 911 calls within the month. 54 of those 600 were abandoned 911 calls. 39 city calls for utilities, whether it was gas or water leaks or anything like that. Our animal care center, you'll see a picture up here. That was from this weekend's adoption event. Milo actually got adopted at the Plaza Hotel. We do have volunteers that go out there as part of the animal care center, and Milo was adopted this weekend. They're going to continue to do these events, of course, throughout the month, twice a month. The beginning count for cats was 50, cats, 95 dogs. The public intake, we had 23 dogs, 2 cats. We had 1 adoption of a cat and 9 adoptions of dogs. Outgoing, we have 21 cats, 11 dogs were outgoing. None were returned to the owners this month. Ending count was 30 cats and 97 dogs. We do have 15, possibly more animals that we'll be transferring out within the month that we'll start getting to Colorado. We also have some individuals coming from Washington to adopt an animal that was involved in one of our extreme animal cruelty cases. He just got released by the owner and from the courts, so they are coming down from Washington to adopt him, and they might also take several more with them. Our records division handled or closed out 102 offense reports, 26 traffic accident reports were closed, 152 traffic citations were entered, 147 customers were attended to get them their information that they needed from the police department, and 277 documents were scanned into our system, and 22 IPRAs were completed. We're still working on the destruction of the 2013 to 2017 reports, and that still is ongoing and continuing. Our Street Crimes and Investigations Division, they had 13 assigned cases for the month. They had 11 self-initiated. They made 12 arrests on whether it's proactive or the cases that they're handling. They did execute 1 search warrant, and they closed out 7 cases. We had 57 evidence cases for the month. We had 103 evidence items turned in total. 2 grams of methamphetamine were seized by investigations, 156 fentanyl pills, and 156 was from patrol. 8 of them were by the investigators. 32 Suboxone strips were seized. 2 items of property were released out of there for closed cases. We do currently have 28 cases sitting at the New Mexico DPS labs that we're waiting for results on. 3 at the RCFL, whereas our forensic for videos and cell phones, they're assisting us on those. And then 19 IPRA requests were completed by our investigations. Moving on to our events that we had this month, I thought this one was a really cool and unique event. It was called A Hug for Love. We gave out certain items for the balloon fiestas that went up there. They reached out wanting to come down and meet the PD. So her goal is to meet 50 departments in 50 states within the year. And her mother received an item. I think it was a T-shirt. She doesn't remember who gave it to her at the booth, but they made their way from Texas to Las Vegas to come and do a Hug for Love. They did a short Facebook video, and from Las Vegas, New Mexico, she was on to Las Vegas, Nevada to continue her mission. She's been doing this since she was 7 years old, and she's 12 now.
So real quick, the booth, Balloon Fiesta booth?
The Balloon Fiesta booth, yeah. Yeah, so it's just an awesome thing moving forward with it. We did have 1 police sergeant attend a street crimes training that'll assist us with the crimes that are trending, how to get ahead of them, and pass on that training to other officers. We had 10 informational travels only for the month. They weren't. We have same thing. A lot of cars breaking down that were back and forth to the mechanics, taking them back and forth. We had a recruitment event on the 4th of November at Walmart, which is very successful. We also assisted with the Dia de los Muertos parade for the youth. We blocked off the street, that way they had a safe line of travel to conduct their parade. And then the Hug for Love, of course, from Ms. Baldwin. But she came in, and it was a really cool event. And if you guys have time, there's a link on the agenda that was submitted so you guys can see the video. And then we also assisted with the turkey trot Thanksgiving Day. The recruitment event, we had 8 police applicants within the month. Communications specialists were 3, information specialists, we had 2, community service aides 1, and an animal control officer. Within the month, we were able to hire 1 certified officer and 1 animal control officer. Our animal control officer started with us about a week ago, and our certified officer will start at the beginning of January. We prepared our schedule today, and we're increasing our numbers on patrol, so hopefully that continues, but we will be losing some to the academy coming up as well. Total number of vacancies, we have 32 at this point throughout the department and all divisions, to include animal control and animal care center. I stand for any questions.
Counselors?
Yeah, Chief, on AMR medical calls,
Yes, sir.
are your officers having to wait at all for any services?
We do have issues with response times, of course, being over the 7 minutes often. So we do have him, but fire is very quick in responding, but yeah, we do wait for AMR often.
What's the time period? Do you have like an average of how many times or how long you have to be waiting?
I could get that for you, but most complaints that we do receive are over the 7-minute time frame.
Okay. And also, is it possible for you to get a report from state police and the sheriff's office as to how many stops and how many calls they do within the city limits
Yes, sir.
per month?
Yes, sir.
And include that in your next report?
Yes, sir.
Be interested to know how much they're helping us out, and I see him stopping people all the time, but I'd be interested in knowing how much assistance we're getting from them due to our vacancies probably too, that it affects that. So, yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Counselor Casey?
I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mayor, next we have our finance report. We have our Deputy Finance Director, Dominic Chavez.
Mayor and Council, first of all, I'd like to apologize for a couple of date issues on the lodger's tax and cannabis. I read October versus November. However, the figures are accurate. On our general fund, we have a surplus to date of $69,329. On our enterprise, we have a surplus of $427,099. Our recreation department, we have a deficit to date of $50,059. Our lodger's tax, also a deficit of $38,824. And our cannabis, we have a surplus of $64,989. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
And I just want to let the governing body know here is that, being that our charter does say that if the finance director is in the interim role of city manager, he cannot oversee the finance department. So it's, Dominic has been put back as the interim. So just notification, we have that firewall, between the two and the checks and balances, just for the record. And I'd also like to note to that, as I know that they're also working on mid-year budgets with every department. They've come in, I don't know how many you guys have completed, but that's ongoing also, and I think there's quite a few changes.
We have several that we're doing on daily. I'd also like to make a small note, if I may. A lot of state appropriations are coming in. The drawdowns are taking place quite often, so we are receiving a lot of that funding that has been out for quite some time.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also in the finance part, just to, bring the council up to date, I know some of the issues that we have had on the capital outlay projects, notice of obligation were kind of the last thing that were being done, and that's being remedied right now. We're making sure notice of obligations happen prior to
That's correct.
any purchases or anything, so.
We were kind of chasing the 8 ball on that issue, and so it was a little bit hard to get payment without proper paperwork being submitted on time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Matute.
Dominic, on the Yafo adult basketball, is still being 0-0 on 23-24.
We had that conversation this morning. We had the budget hearing with Rec Center this morning. We had that conversation. They're gonna get that information to us this week.
Okay, and the 50,000 minus, is that like an alarm? We're gonna go down that road till June
The Rec Center?
for the rec center, yeah.
Yes, sir. It usually falls in a deficit.
So if revenues don't start coming in, pretty much we'll be on the deficit again at the end of the year.
Very much so.
Yeah.
That's hence the reason why we have that transfer in from general fund to surplus.
Okay. So like next year for our budget, what we're gonna do in order to come out even? Just add another $500,000?
No, sir, I wouldn't think of $500,000, but the transfer may have to increase.
Yeah.
I do know that in speaking with Arturo and Loretta this morning, they do have a lot more programs coming in, so they are raising more money than they have in the past, but it's still.
Because I'd like for that facility to be fully utilized. And I was there yesterday, and I tell you, the weightlifting room was all packed. There wasn't a bench you could sit on. And then the basketball courts, they were all filled up. But I don't know if it's certain days or if it's all the time. But if we can have, if Mr. City Manager, if we can push to have any kind of activity that's going to bring any sort of income, we need to act on that, and that's including schools from around here that would want to have functions there, or anything like that, so that we can offset that cost a little bit more. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Sandra?
Thank you, Mr. Chavez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Moving on to our presentations, not to exceed 10 to 15 minutes. Our first presentation is by Fire Chief Span, reporting on the Insurance Services Office fire protection rating for the City of Las Vegas.
Mayor, Council. It's like Jeopardy again. So Mayor, Council, as you remember, this last summer, we had ISO come out and evaluate our city and our fire department for our fire protection class. ISO is actually a nationwide organization that rates all fire departments in the country, total this year of 40,545 departments. Based upon that ISO number from a scale of 10 to 1, 1 being the best, that decides and adjusts the insurance premiums for our local townspeople for their businesses and their homes. It also adjusts our funding that we receive from the Fire Protection Fund every year from State Fire Marshal's Office. Before the evaluation, we were at a 5. As of effective January 1st, we will be at an ISO of 4. 3 to 1 are considered prestigious in the fire service. We missed a 3 by 3 points. So we have challenged ISO, and they will be coming back out within a year to reevaluate us. And if we go to a 3, that'll be major savings for our local people as far as their insurance premiums and more funding for the fire department to supplement our fire suppression operations. After going through this ISO ratings, we actually did very well. And I've gotten with some of the directors where we needed to do improvements and work on things. I've gotten with Chief Mares, I've gotten, excuse me, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. And then I've also gotten with Public Works. It's minor things that we've already addressed. As we spoke to you several months ago, we were needing 6 more personnel before the new fiscal year to meet ISO's requirements. Y'all granted that to us in our budget, so we have filled that spot. We need to work on our communications, so my request to you is anytime that dispatch is going and requesting for fundings for new equipment and new communication equipment, we need that to help both of our departments and improve this ISO. Unfortunately, we have to meet the state requirements because state fire is requiring all of us to move to 700 megahertz by 2025. Unfortunately, neither of our agencies have that equipment right now. And the state has not come up with any grant processes to help us purchase this new equipment they want us to carry as of yet. But these are all small items. We work together, we can get to that ISO 3 by next year. Out of the 5, going from a 4 to a 3, just to give you an idea of the numbers, this year, the 4s, there was 7,071 fire departments that made an ISO of 4. Or excuse me, 5, I apologize. It's been a long week, I really apologize. ISO of 5, there was 8,817. We dropped to ISO of 4 of 7,071. That's a good jump. If we go to an ISO of 3, that'll be 3,826 departments nationwide within that category. I mean, it's so prestigious for the fire service, they actually give you stickers to put on the side of your apparatus to advertise it. Because it brings more businesses to your town because they know they'll have lower insurance premiums and more profit margin for themselves. I can tell you all the directors in the city worked hard to help us prepare for this. Water department, police department, even executive, they had to fill out forms for us, all the information as far as how many hydrants, how often are they tested, communications statistics from dispatch. And it's, you need to be proud of your entire city for this rating. And we will be sending out a message to our local citizens advising the ISO 4 level that they can send to their insurance companies, and it'll help reevaluate what they pay in premiums. Other than that, I stand for any questions. I would have had a bigger presentation for you, but we were a little bit busy this week, so I didn't get to work on the Microsoft.
Councilors?
I just want to thank Chief Span for explaining the numbers, because when I read all of this, I wasn't too sure what I was, if the 4 was a good or a bad. And I kept looking for something that would say, 4 is good or 4 is bad, but I couldn't find anything in there. And I thought, oh, good. The Chief is going to be there tonight to tell us exactly. So while all of this jargon is familiar to you, it's not exactly familiar to us. And so I thank you for the explanation, and good job in getting us to number 4. And next year we'll be at 3, and then 2, and then 1. So I have a lot of
faith in your work, and thank you for everything that you do.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Montoya?
Yeah, Chief, so on this ISO rating, what's the lowest the city of Las Vegas has ever been?
Lowest was our previous rating of a 5, sir.
A 5? That was the lowest.
Sir, to my knowledge, that was the lowest we've ever been.
And on the the fire hydrants, are you working with the water department on making sure that those are all operational?
We are working on those. We are actually scheduled, if not this year, next year, to have them come out and do the actual flow tests and GPM calibrations on them, which is maximum of every 5 years for ISO. And then we're working with Miss Maria, even though they're shorthanded, to do the annual flow testing where we just flush out systems, lubricate all the problem droids, check the valves and everything else on them.
And the ones that aren't working, are they?
If they're not working, and as we find out of them, as we found one yesterday, we put it with our reporting system, which creates a work order that we send over to Public Works. They process it and then they send back what they've done or what they had to replace and repair. And then we update it in our system as well. With our new system, it's actually a GIS system. So if a hydrant goes out of service, like right now, and I put it in the system, it goes live and all of our guys see that hydrant's out of service. But if we're unaware of it, it doesn't show it in the system. So we're going to work with Public Works to get more testing on a more frequent basis to verify that
Yeah,
hydrants.
because Maria has a listing of how many are not operational. Did you encounter any yesterday?
Yes, sir, I did.
1, 2,
One, sir.
1.
Yes, sir.
How,
It was marked as a green hydrant, which is one of the higher flows we can have. We went to access it and the stem valve just kept spinning, which we can't say for sure how it happened, but those hydrants are designed so when it gets hit by a vehicle, it doesn't do the Hollywood thing and show water everywhere. It actually has a cotter pin where it separates, so it's a breakaway valve is what we call it basically.
and how far away from the fire was that fire
Less than
hydrant?
100 feet, sir.
Thank you. Do you have any outstanding grants?
The only one we're waiting on right now, sir, is $150,000 awarded by State Fire Marshal's Office for radios and communication equipment for our department. We received the notification letter, but the transfer has not come into finance yet, as far as we know. But it should be within the next week or so.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome, sir.
Chief, I just, also want to add, thank you for what you've done. I mean, I wasn't sure that was going to be one of my questions, is what was our best rating ever. So, going to a 4, that says a lot in where we're at. But, I guess the big thing, especially with yesterday is, you said Public Works, but I think you probably meant utilities?
Yes,
Public-
utilities, I
okay.
apologize.
Okay, yeah, because I think, and if there's something that, maybe the city manager needs to be aware of on some of these ones, then we need to address those if it's not, if those aren't being done in a timely manner, so.
And one of the other concerns too, sir, if you don't mind me adding, is that that division is shorthanded on the people that are supposed to test these hydrants. And we have over 600 hydrants within our jurisdiction that we have to maintain and take care of. So we need to maintain them, but we need to get them staffed. I mean, I know we're having a hard time getting employees, but they responded real quick yesterday to help repair that hydrant and get it working again for us.
Mr. Mayor, I did have one more question, and excuse my ignorance, Chief, on this one, but that ISO rating, does the Hermit's Peak fire have anything to do with it at all?
No, so the Hermit's Peak Fire doesn't affect our ISO rating because it's basically the services we can provide within the city itself, the city limits. It doesn't encounter the ETC, the Hermit's Peak, or any of those things.
Because apparently it did affect homeowners insurance, so I'm just curious.
The only way it would help with the Hermit's Peak Fire would be the ISO ratings for the county itself, whichever region covers those areas affected. Their ISO could go up or down depending on how well they react and prevent it and responded to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I wanted to add to that, Chief, I think one of the big things and my, focus here, has been mayor and the governing body. We all agree that we need to start announcing a lot of this, more positivity in the community and not let social media dictate the negativity that's going on. So with that, I was able to go over our contract with one of our radio stations, and I did notice, and we're not utilizing to the maximum effect, is that we're allowed to go and record on a weekly basis a commercial that'll go on. So maybe we could announce something pertaining to the ISO rating and that, and let people know of, to let their insurances know, about, we went down, so to check if there's any savings for them. And then, I mean, I know this is kind of off topic, but I'll talk to Councilman Montoya. Maybe you'd like to go and do a recording also for, you know, the Legion Drive project and kind of update it. So it's a reoccurring commercial that'll be coming on, just things that I've noticed that, you know, I started looking at that we weren't utilizing. So, I mean, I think Chuck is the one that's, you know, working on that. So you guys just make time, you know, schedule with him and go do those recordings. Thank you.
And also to add to that, we worked with the Optic and purchased a plan with them for this year to kind of have like the mayor's corner was in the paper. There'll be a fire department, so we can report things like the ISO or any other information for the general public, whether it be holiday, fire prevention, items like that.
Great. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, our next presentation is by Arturo Padilla, our Parks and Rec Director, speaking on events and programs.
Good afternoon. I just put together a little something for you guys to look at.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening, Councilman Montoya, Councilwoman Barbara Casey, Mayor Romero, Cassandra, Mr. City Manager. My name is Arturo Padilla. I'm the Director for the Parks and Recreation. What you have in your hand is just flyers of the events that we've had. So since my arrival on June 5th, it seems like I've been here about 2 or 3 years. Honestly, there's a lot that goes on in the departments, and you know, a lot of trial and tribulations along the way. But before you know, I'll start with my staffing is about 80% at the Recreation Center. We're still missing a few key pieces to that. Parks has grown from 4 to 7 employees. Right? We only had 4 at the time of my hire. And also, at this time, I'd like to say that, you know, it takes a village to run a big facility like that. So I want to thank my staff, you know, that goes in every day and does their job and puts on a smile and keeps the place safe and clean for everyone. But I especially want to thank Loretta Abreu Martin and Valerie Macias for all they do. They, you know, that we want to get things done without them. And also to George Cowden, who maintains all the facilities, heating and cooling, does all the requisitions, POs for everything that needs to be bought for that place, the lighting and so on. And one more special thanks to Kenny and Sequoia and Leon for the great website. If you guys have gone on the website, it looks amazing. It looks like, you know, it's just put together real well and professional and everything on there is accurate. So I appreciate it. The one thing I want to ask before I begin my presentation is I've asked since I first got here if there was any way that we could give teachers from this community the same discount that we give government, student, and military. I think they're important professionals, and I feel like they deserve a discount as well as, you know, like government and student and military. And at this time, you can either make a decision, we can add it for the new year, or you guys talk about it and then let me know. But I just feel like they're so important to our growth of our young citizens, future citizens and voters, that they, you know, should have that also as a thank you for all their hard work and dedication to the kids of the community. So before you, we have, so our program since June 5th when I was hired, we've had a summer day camp with 77 kids, and we're hoping to grow that to over 100. It's kind of hard to overpopulate the summer program because of the facility, the lack of rooms, the breakout rooms. I know we have the gym and we have the racquetball courts, but those aren't ideal for actual having kids, you know, doing arts and crafts and stuff like that. You know, in the future, we'd like to maybe possibly look into making a couple more breakout rooms for summer school, after school program, and possibly yoga and more instructional classes there at the center. We advertise an adult basketball league. All the flyers that I'm going through are in there. We've had a water aerobics classes available, gymnastics, swim lessons, youth fall co-ed volleyball league. First time they've ever had a volleyball league in Las Vegas. We had over 65 kids register the first time. So I'm hoping to grow that to over 100 kids and keep it at a steady 100 or plus. with every new program, there's bumps and bruises and things of that nature, but I think overall it's gone really well, and the kids really enjoy it. I've seen Councilman Montoya there watching and watching these kids laugh and have a good time. So at one time or another, there's a game here, a practice there, and a volleyball game here. So it gets a little crazy and hectic, but it feels good to see everybody just participating, getting out of their house and being and watching and supporting their family. We also are currently running a youth fall basketball league with over 260 kids. And we are promoting a youth spring boys basketball league as well as a youth spring girls basketball league. That'll be coming right after the new year, as soon as this league ends. As far as events, we've had a couple of free community pool parties over the summer. We had over 30 people at each party, which was good. You know, we had some tables out there and some canopies, and we had music playing. And it was pretty well received. We had a free basketball clinic. We had we did advertise battle in the Meadow City between the fire department and the police department, but we're going to revisit that, guys. The 4th of July run, the fun run, that was pretty successful. I know in the years past they've had over 100 participants. I believe we only had about 40 this year, but we're hoping to grow it, you know, every year that we do that. For Thanksgiving, we had a turkey trot fun run. We had about 25 to 35 people. We are currently advertising a fitness challenge weight loss competition. We had a breast cancer awareness push-up competition with 14 participants in there. We had 3 powerlifting events within the last 3 or 4 months since I've been there, and we usually get about 15 to 20 participants. I believe the mayor was there at one of them. But the crowd that comes to watch them, we set up some chairs, and it's a real entertaining, and most of them are younger kids, and there's a few older adults, but it's just great that they're putting on these events. We had a holiday push-up competition this last weekend. We had 15 participants. So for the future, I've talked with my staff, and we're looking into senior basketball league during the day for seniors that want to come in and play in a competitive league, either for lunch or something. I'm gonna hit the streets and get some advice and see what people are thinking and what time's good for them, and hit that. We're looking into getting a pickleball league that's really popular in the U.S. right now, and we do have the equipment for it. So I think we're gonna start advertising that in the new year, as well as a racquetball league. Racquetball is real popular. It was real popular back in the day. I know my dad used to play handball, and I've seen a lot of handball players coming in recently, and it's kind of nostalgic for me. But a racquetball league is one of the other programs, and also an indoor soccer league. We just recently purchased through a grant some soccer goals indoor. So I've spoken to the local soccer league directors and stuff like that, and we've thought about putting together some kind of organized league for them indoor. But with everything that goes great and that we advertise, there's also things that we got to pay for, like the boiler for the heating of the gym. It was an issue for a while. We did order it in August to hopefully be ready by winter, but it was back ordered and it finally came in probably mid-November. And those things cost like $20,000. Everything, the facility sold. Phase 1 was built in 1999. Phase 2 was built in 2005. So we're looking at over 20 years, for each section of the facility, which means the lighting was done in 20 years ago. The heating, the cooling, everything in there eventually breaks down, just like, when you buy a new house, you give it about 30, 40 years and then stuff starts falling apart. So, a lot of the stuff is costs that we've had to endure. The pool being closed for the last 2 weeks. We bought the motor that week that it broke. It took them 3 weeks to get it out here, so we were happy about that. But right when we were going to put it on, the propeller that moves the water into the pool seized. So now we have to buy that. That's 20-some years old. So we're going to buy this stuff so that we don't have issues for another 15, 20 years, and this stuff doesn't continue to happen, rather than trying to put a new part in there and then it just happens again. So we'd rather just buy the whole mechanism, which runs about $1,000, and it'll be good hopefully for 15, 20 years. The pool's a big attraction at the rec center. We do have a lot of people that, just go and open swim in the morning at noon. And then, at night, when the kids get out of school, there's a few people that go in to swim. And we're also looking into putting more events on in the upcoming year. I know I've spoken to HR about possibly renting a Whibbit type apparatus that goes in the pool and having like a youth night a couple times in January, February. We have to make sure the insurance is okay with us doing that, and we got to go through those steps. But that's one of the ideas that we've come up with. The LED lighting in the gym. I know you were there last night, and there's about 12 lights out, and they're all over the gym. They're not in one section, but it still looks a little dark. But even with those, they're about $3,000-$4,000 each. So everything costs. We can throw out a lot of programs and stuff like that, and hopefully, we can generate some money as well as use funds from grants and that nature to kind of put that together. Going into the parks, I just want to thank Chris Gallegos and his crew for handling the snow that morning. He went out to every park, handled it. I saw them at Keys Park that day, and I said, "Well, you're gonna do this whole slab of cement?" And he goes, "Yeah, boss. People want to go play as soon as it melts." I was like, "All right." So, we got Lincoln, we got Plaza, and everything. All the snow swept that day. And then the crew at the rec center did the rec center. And throw some salt in there. Like I said earlier, we had a crew of 4 when I started. We were up to 7, hopefully 9 by spring. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get done to prepare for the spring, for the grass, aerating, seeding, stuff like that, fixing all the bushes, trying to get rid of all the Chinese elms that are growing all over. In the past 2-3 months, we've had a little extra time, so we put up like 7 benches at the Riverwalk, Hanna Park, Crestone Circle. They put up 7 affluent signs at different parks. They've installed the basketball goals at Keys Park. I know that was a big project when I got here. They wanted those done. We got them done and put in, and it was a big attraction since day one. The day we put them on, that day there was people playing on it and stuff like that. So it was good to see. Other than that, the frustration of all the water breaks and the water leaks. We had over 40 leaks within 2.5 months of my starting the job, and it was real frustrating. And so without any sprinkler heads or anything in stock, we've had to do 3 quotes, the purchase order, stuff like that. Rather than just buying a big amount, we don't know what to prepare for. We were just buying as it went. So we learned that process also. Most of the staff is new, so we've learned how to kind of go around that. But the sprinkler heads and the leaks were the biggest problems with the parks. We also had a big, we put up 7 park signs at different parks. We had a scare at the Rodriguez Park with that big fire that happened. And what happened was, if any of those sparks would have hit the turf, it would have gone out in flames. And so that next day I showed up at the park, and the ashes actually fell on the turf, but it was cold by the time it hit the turf. So you could see the ashes on there, but it didn't penetrate because it was already cold. So we dodged a bullet there. We held the district cross-country meet at Rodriguez Park with thanks to Arnold and his staff. They graded a nice course there. They had like 6 or 7 teams out there with family and friends and coaches, and they ran a successful district meet, and they're interested in doing more events in the future. So that's pretty much the summary of my 6-7 months I've been here.
Councilor Casey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Padilla, the boiler was fixed? The boiler was
Yes, the
taken
heating
care of?
has been working for the past month, 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what accommodations have been made to accommodate the senior citizens that will have to be coming to the rec center?
The Tai Chi classes that will be coming to the rec center because the senior center parking lot is going to be torn up. Have you made any?
Yes. Wanda Salazar came by. We spoke about it. They're going to be using the gym.
I know, but have you made any, what kind of accommodations have you made? Have you made any accommodations for the seniors?
There's really nothing else they could do there because of the time frames and stuff like that. The gym is available during the day. It's just that they'd have to walk from the front to the back, and it's a lot for a lot of people. So it was hard for her to choose the rec center as a meal site. with us not having a full-on catering kitchen or anything like that. But the one thing they could utilize it for was the program that you
The
mentioned.
Tai Chi classes,
Tai Chi.
okay.
So that will be there.
So when people go to the rec center, they can just, instead of going in through the side door there where where the employees are to greet people and
Yes.
stuff, they can go
Directly through the side door out to the back?
Yes, yeah, they can do that. But like I mentioned, Wanda said it might be a little too much to go from the parking lot all the way down that strip, all the way down to the gym. So she was kind of concerned about that.
It is a little bit far, but I think, from what I've witnessed myself, a lot of them that are with walkers also have handicap, license plates and tags so that they can park in the handicap parking. And that way they don't have to walk all the way across the parking lot and that long sidewalk, so, okay. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Padilla, isn't there some, I mean, not formal parking spaces back there through that back door? Is there a way to accommodate?
There's a steep hill,
Oh, okay.
and our maintenance vehicles and then park there, but I wouldn't suggest they park there because there's a steep and I don't want them tripping or anything on that.
Mr. Padilla, I guess my big thing, and I know we've, in your time there and the previous director there, we've made an effort to put at the parks, the effluent line, but we continue, and I know this has been an issue, and I was able to sit on the budget presentation that you were with finance, is the pressure keeps popping all those sprinklers. And I just think that it's important for this governing body to, make that, I think there's something wrong with our effluent system, and that's not normal to be popping these type of sprinkler heads, and the sprinkler heads are very expensive. So I would, for us to kind of focus on that, and if there's a way to maybe give direction to the utilities director to make that a priority, because, if we want our parks green, we can't continue to be popping those, and then they're hard to, I understand they're hard to get those sprinkler heads to begin with, right? It takes a
Yes.
while, and so when
Yes,
that's
sir.
happening, it just messes up the whole system. It's pop lines, and that's where we have the crews kind of digging into the lines, right?
Yeah, so the main issue for all the breaks, the previous city manager brought in a company from Las Cruces, and they evaluated the parks and the sprinkler systems, and they said that the PSI should be at 165 at all times for the type of sprinkler heads and piping that we have. But at times, uncontrollable, it goes up to 220, 230. So, it's frustrating for me, but it's also frustrating for them. I know they had someone doing that for years and they retired. So, but if we can get to that place where we can have a certain level, 165, 170, and keep it at that, that would keep us from having to replace so many sprinkler heads and turn off the water at the parks for a few days, in order to fix it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Padilla, I did notice 14 lights out,
Yes, yes.
and it's a safety issue and concern
Yes, it
for
is.
me. But you're saying that they cost $3,000 to $4,000 to replace each one?
Yes, we just looked into it today. Actually, we when we had our budget meeting, we saw that we had a grant that we can use to put lighting in, and George found lighting for $800 each. So I think now that we have our lift, we bought a lift for the gym. We can save the having to pay somebody to install them, and then just buy the lighting and put them up ourselves.
Okay, yeah, because that grant was for converting to LED.
Yeah, so those are LED.
Yeah.
So we're going to be replacing
Yeah.
LED with LED.
Because it's unreal for us
Yes.
to be paying $4,000 for
Yes.
light
yes,
fixture, and you
totally
have
understand.
25 of them or
Yes.
30 of them in that area.
Yes.
The other thing I had concerns with that I go in there and I observe, and is it really NBA that you're having there at night?
Sometimes it seems like,
Do we really need 3 officials in every game for kids?
no, we have two.
Last night you had 3.
There's one official that does scorekeeper, but
Oh.
we might have been training an official.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
when we're training an official,
Normally. you
yeah,
have 2.
normally we have two.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't. We don't do
Okay.
more than two.
And that racquetball tournament, do you know how much money it brought into the rec center?
I don't,
Okay.
Mr.
The Hannah Park sign, you guys took it down during the construction. They finished that area and it was laying down for 3 months. It's no longer there. Where is it at and when is it gonna be put back up?
I believe we have it in the storage here, so I'll have Chris,
Okay.
put that up.
And then lastly, Mr. City Manager, on the personnel matters, I had a couple of calls last week on some concerns about officials and staff and so forth at the rec center. And we received an email this afternoon, and I'll share that information with you, and I'll let you decide how you want to take care of it, get back to us and find out what's going on and what can we do to correct those issues that are going on, or address them at least and see what direction we go. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Padilla.
Mayor, moving on to our business items. Item number 1, request approval to award RFB 2024-12. This is the Hot Springs Road Reconstruction Project to GM Emulsions LLC in the amount of $570,550 without New Mexico GRT. We have our Public Works Director, Mr. Lopez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we request approval to award this RFB 2024-12 Hot Springs Road Reconstruction Project to GM Emulsions in the amount of $570,550. This is actually a project, it's a CDBG project that was funded, and we'd like to move forward with this bid and move into contract so we could reach construction in early spring.
Councilor Casey?
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, is that going to fix the area close to the Mills intersection? That whole block there that has been kind of a shambles for,
Seems like forever.
So unfortunately, in the first bid, it was to be from, that traverse drop inlet area, where there's a kind of a ponding area that we have to address. So it's gonna be from there all the way to Mills. And this is the second time we go out for bid on this project. So the first time it was way over budget. So what we did, we broke it into 2 bid lots, okay? And of course, we because of funding, we weren't able to award the 2 bid lots. So we brought the project down in scope, and we're awarding the first bid lot. And what it is, it starts at that drop inlet, which is the kind of the worser part of it, and then it extends towards Mills. And it's gonna go to the next intersection, but being that we came in, we still have some budget available. So we're gonna extend that project a little bit more through change order and totally expend all the money that we have in budget for this. So it'll end up somewhere past the following intersection, but it will not go all the way to Mills.
okay, because people in that area have been, I get phone calls from them often, and I don't call you to tell you anything because, money is, if it's not there, we can't do much. I just tell them to please be patient and do the best they can, because I don't know what else to say. But that one house that's on the corner of Hot Springs and San Miguel has had that piece of equipment in front of their house forever. And then the person that lives next door had their driveway completely crushed by that same piece of equipment. And so are we going to fix those, destroyed sidewalks and,
So that is a
And parking
utilities
areas?
project, and they will have to repair everything that they, impact or anything that they do remove will have to get replaced within that project. But the intent will be, once we construct this, then we can move on to the next application for CDBG. And if Mayor and Council approves it as being our next project for CDBG, it will be shovel-ready because it is engineered for the whole amount.
and just one final question. Your department is working with utilities to make sure that all the pipes and all of that in that area have already been changed out and that work is complete so that you can actually pave that area? Okay.
Yeah, so we do, anytime we're gonna do a project, we do get with utilities and make sure if they have to do any improvements, that they are taken care of before the actual project, proceeds. That way we don't pave and then all of a sudden they have to come in and replace something. Other than if there's a leak, it happens, and sometimes we do have to repair a new street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Montoya?
Yeah, Mr. Lopez, so what street is this from, to Mills? Inform us.
Daniel, help me with that, what street are they?
Mayor and Council, it's gonna be Mora Street to San Miguel Street, bro.
Oh, Mora to San Miguel. Oh,
That's actually the worst
Two
area.
blocks.
yeah. And what was the original bid, do you recall?
I think it came in like $1
project?
million, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
It was 1.1 million, I think was real close to what it was.
okay. And so is this gonna cover the sidewalk on both ends, the 360 yards of concrete?
It will yes, because we have to, comply with ADA, so we have to do all the ADA ramps and sidewalk that doesn't meet ADA.
And you're not addressing lighting at all, no?
No, sir.
No. And part of that road on the east side was redone last summer?
Yes, sir.
And is that gonna be redone again?
No, sir. It doesn't impact that area there.
Oh, okay. That was before
Yes.
this project.
Yeah. We are seeking funding, and it's a discussion that we're gonna have with the new city manager as to maybe we could come up with some funding to do the other lane, because one lane is already done, so it would be nice to seek some funding for that.
Maybe you can use some of that infrastructural money from the utilities.
That would be nice. It would be nice to complete that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. No questions for you, Arnold, but Mr. City Manager, I had just one question, if you could look into it. I know I haven't had a chance to bring this up to you. Could you look internally what our policy is on change orders? I'll be honest, there's a lot of change orders that aren't brought before council, and I know in my previous role within the school board, there was, I know, the threshold that, it was, anticipated, and then from there it had to be brought. So can you, get us updated on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Arnold.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Montoya?
motion to award of RFB 2024-12, Hot Springs Boulevard Reconstruction Project to GM Emotions.
I have a motion by Councilman Montoya. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilor Casey. Roll call, please.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, and just for the public's view, a lot of the public are always, bringing up concerns about potholes all over town, and rightfully so. I'm one of those that I like to take care of potholes right away as soon as possible, but here we are spending $570,000 on probably 2 blocks construction at Hot Springs Boulevard. That street alone is probably 1.25 miles long. So could you imagine how much it would cost us to do it all? Prices are expensive and we're limited on funding, and like Mr. Lopez said, the first bid out there was way out there. We couldn't even afford it. So now we're breaking it into sections, and this is what we come up with. But if we have to do section by section, I guess that's what we got to do. But it is expensive to do any kind of road repairs when you reconstruct the whole road. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Cassandra.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to item number 2, request approval of Resolution 23-34, budget adjustment for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. We have our Deputy Finance Director, Mr. Chavez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Once again, I'm here to request approval of Resolution 23-34, budget adjustment to the 23-24 fiscal year budget. Would you like me to read it into the record?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, the City of Las Vegas is in need of making a budget adjustment to 23-24 fiscal year budget to include a revenue and expense increase in the amount of 25,785 from 217 appropriation A20E 5279. A revenue and expense increase in the amount of 40,404 to fund 217 Senior Center Parking Lot Project. A revenue and expense increase in the amount of 20,000 to fund 770, and that is actually Las Vegas at the legislature. But it reads educational recreation. A revenue and expense increase of 918,898 to fund 287, the abatement opioid. And also a revenue and expense transfer of $8 million from Fund 217, H2369, Las Vegas Peterson Dam Rehabilitation Allocation to Fund 246, H2369, Las Vegas Peterson Dam Rehabilitation Allocation. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Just one quick one,
Councilor Casey?
just for my own clarification.
The 8 million is a legislative appropriation?
That's correct.
Okay, so all of the 217s are legislative appropriations. Okay, thank you.
You have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of Resolution 2334, the budget adjustment for the
23-24 fiscal year as read into the record by Mr. Chavez.
Motion by Councilor Casey, do I get a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor, and this was recommended by the Finance Committee.
And a second by Councilman Montoya. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya? Yes. Counselor Casey? I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Have a good evening.
Thank you, too.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you, thank you.
Moving on to business item number 3, request approval of a professional service agreement for legal services for advised law firm. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, so at this time, I want to bring to the attention, when this item was put on the agenda, it was going to be presented by our HR Director, Darlene Arguello. At the time, we were still undecided on the interim city manager, so that's why my name is there doing the presentation. I had nothing to do with any of the bids. It was all done with HR, but at this time, I know HR did consult with the interim city manager, so I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, as you're aware, we do have a vacant attorney position within the city, and that's something that HR has been working with, trying to recruit for that position. In the meantime, we've been using consulting attorneys. Darlene had put out 5 requests for attorney services, and we received 3 respondents. They're coming from, the law firms are New Mexico Local Government Law, Advise Law, Ortiz and Zamora Attorneys at Law. And we are not able to go beyond the $60,000 threshold based on our procurement code without doing an RFP. And so the thought process in this is award $20,000 eligibility to 3 different law firms. And what that would do for us is in urgent situations, when we call our attorney, if we're not able to get a hold of them, then we would have backup attorneys that we can also use. And so this is a way of building relationships with the different law firms and hopefully have immediate response as needed. And then as we move forward, the goal still is to bring an attorney in-house. And so that's the intent behind this.
And if I can add to that is, I think Mr. Guel did advise us, our current, one of the current firms that we have was already at the, expanded basically at the 20,000, so that was the reason for this. I know as a new mayor, you know, there's still that other option, but this just puts us in a predicament where we have counsel at this moment, you know, to be able to use that. There's discussion with the RFP, and then there's also, as the new mayor, you know, me going to be seeking out, you know, I hadn't done that because I didn't know what was going to happen, but now I've had 1 week and I'll have the opportunity to start seeking maybe a full-time in-house. But this is just for right now, as I know in working with New Mexico law, there was times, like, it took a while, it took 3 calls, and this gives us an opportunity if, you know, we need that emergency call to an attorney, it gives us 3 different options, and that's 3 different, I mean, as you see, there's, 3, 4, and 5 on the agenda, business items, so that's the whole background on that. So thank you.
I have a question. Do you know the name of the attorney that will be working with the city through the Legal Services for Advised Law Firm?
I may have that. No, actually, the quote that came in just has a breakdown of the hourly rate between a senior attorney, a junior attorney, paralegal, and then there's the travel fees. And so I don't have the individual's name. The letter is signed by Randy Audio.
I was just curious because I wanted to know who we're replacing and
who is taking over so that we start to familiarize ourselves with those names so that we can.
ask intelligent questions of the right group.
So if I, on advised law, and I guess,
Mr. Mayor, just members of the council, just for clarification, that individual is not with the advised law firm, whoever that signature was, so I don't know what that is. For our quote, it would be either myself as the attorney to contact, or Mr. Julio Garcia, who's our
And your
managing
name
partner.
is?
Ambrosio Castellano.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize you without the hat.
I'm sorry. I left it in the truck for this meeting.
Okay.
so advised law, and that's what I was gonna read off that, so that was advised law.
So that brings up a question, is that a valid contract then, if that's not a signature that's with this firm?
I think he's looking at a different one, because
That's actually the New Mexico local government law. I apologize for that. And I apologize for that.
Okay. That's item number 3, and that's not item 2.
yeah, so item 3, I don't know how you guys want to do it, we'll do them individually, I'll take a motion for each one.
I'll just do it individually because they're
Yeah.
separated.
Yeah.
But to answer Ms. Casey's question, yeah, it all depends what level, who they assign it to on the firm, and at what level and how much they get paid, because they're all different. But yeah, this is a need for us here at the City of Las Vegas, and not to say that our attorneys that in the past have done a good job, they've done a real good job. Every time we've asked them to call or call in or come by, they've been here. It's unfortunate that we don't have a full-time attorney sitting in the desk in the office, but I think things are been working out, and I think this will work out also. These guys are professionals, and I mean, the RFP, if we decide to put it out again, we'll put it out, and more likely there won't be no interest again. So I think that this is a win-win situation. I'm glad that you're able to come and work for us, and I appreciate that. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I would go ahead and make a motion for requested approval for professional services agreement.
Motion by Councilman Matoya, have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Casey, roll call, please.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya? I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries, which brings us to item 4, which is approval of a professional service agreement for legal services for New Mexico government law. And that's the one we currently have contracted. Right.
Mr. Mayor, I request that we approve the professional services agreement for legal services for New Mexico government law.
Motion by Councilman Montoya, have a
Second.
Second by Councilor Casey, roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, request approval of a professional service agreement for legal services for Ortiz and Zamora attorneys at law.
Request for
Mr. Mayor?
approval.
Councilor Casey?
I Move that we approve the professional services agreement for legal services for Ortiz and Zamora attorneys at law.
Motion by Counselor Casey, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Montoya, roll call, please.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
So they replaced Dina Holcomb?
Dina's still with HR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I would like to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Legal personnel matters, New Mexico SA 1978, 10-15-1H-2, discussing of hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, assignment or resignations of or investigations or considerations of complaints or charges against any individual public employee.
Specific matter of interim appointment of city manager.
Yes,
Motion by
item
Councilman,
on the agenda.
Yes.
second by Counselor Casey. Roll call, please.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Okay, so,
Go
or
back into regular session.
make, go ahead. I'll entertain a motion to return to regular session.
Entertain motion that only limited, come out of executive session into regular session, and only limited personnel matters were discussed. Thank you.
Motion by Councilman Montoya,
Second.
second by Councilor Casey. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor?
So at this time right now, I'd like to ask that the governing body appoint Mr. Tim Montgomery as the interim city manager and Councilor Casey.
I move that we approve the appointment of
Tim Montgomery as interim city manager.
I have a motion by Councilor Casey, and I have a second.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Councilman Montoya. Roll call, please.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Montgomery, thank you for stepping up. Really looking forward to working with you. Councilman Montoya was kind of hesitant, just get used to that. He puts pressure on all of us sometimes, so. So thank you.
Thank
I don't
you.
know if you have anything to say.
Thank you. No, I appreciate your putting trust in me. I'm honored to do this. This is for the city, and that makes me proud because I will give my best. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Motion
Mayor,
for
I move
adjourn?
that we adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If we don't see you till then.
Yes.
We have a motion, but first off, Councilor Casey, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. My birthday's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, but we won't see you, so happy birthday to you.
Thank
from all
you.
of us.
Thank you very
Feliz cumpleaños.
Gracias.
I have a motion for adjournment. A second?
Second.
Second. Adjourn.